Hello, this is me, Nicholas, and this video is going to be basically me telling you about my freelance job and what other things that I do for my hobbies and my interests. And so, first of all, everyone has their own interests, and that's wonderful. Everyone's is different, doesn't mean that they're wrong, doesn't like if someone is enjoying something and not doing anything wrong while doing so, they should be allowed to enjoy that thing. So that just want to put that out there. So first of all, some of you might not know, but my freelance job slash hobby is reenacting a executioner. So I do historical reenactment, and I teach classes on the life of an executioner throughout history, and I teach classes about torture and execution throughout history. So it's teaching about the history behind it, but I also have the actual skills of an executioner. So I do live educational demonstrations. I display my torture equipment if people have me come to events and reenact or teach a class or something. I'll bring torture equipment, people got ask questions about it, and I'll answer them, kind of thing. So I do as a job. Sometimes I get hired to reenact at certain events, but unfortunately it's hard because people would have to provide transportation. I don't really drive, so if it's out of the state, it's going to be impossible if I have to get there on my own. But I do a lot in my own area. What I can do. Either way, it's also a hobby for me. So I also do historical reenactment events. They're just basically a hobby. Like I go and I reenact. I enjoy time with friends and other fellow peers with common interest, and we do historical reenactments. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So that's my main thing. My life kind of revolves a lot around that. So the other hobby I have, which is sort of tied into it, but similar but different, two different communities, but both communities overlap in some ways. And both things have similarities, but they're completely different. So I also am in the kink community. So I am a torturer dominant in that community, which everything is done safely. So that's just going to mention that. Don't really want to get into that because I don't know if YouTube will like that, but just to mention that as a different thing, that another thing I do. The other hobbies I have is I like to draw. I make artwork, I draw, I paint, I have made leather sheaths for some of my knives. I made a flogger by hand out of leather. So that's another talent I have, making equipment. I also like to take walks, so that's another hobby I have, is exercise. I like to take walks in the park. I like to go hiking. I like camping. I like outdoorsy activities like archery, throwing weapons, swimming, all that jazz, all that fun stuff. I'm also a big animal lover, so I have a cat named Gigi, and she's the best cat ever. Gigi. Yeah, so that's my cat Gigi. Um, so I also love cats. I love dogs. I don't have a dog, but I love animals. Uh, so I'm also a Therian, which my stereotype is a black wolf, and my other stereotype is a black cat. And I'm also a furry. My persona is a black and white wolf named Stormy, which is spelled Stormyy with two Y's at the end. And I am also into music. I also like collecting weapons and torture equipment as a hobby, and I have a very large collection. And it's something I just like to do. I also like to learn about history, also other parts of history than what I specialize in. So I like to just watch videos or look up or just like read about or whatever, like look up videos and kind of listen to different stuff about history. A lot I know, but I still like listening to that stuff. Don't know everything. Sometimes I learn something new. Hey, you learn something new every day. And yeah, no, I have a lot of hobbies. I like to go out to get coffee with friends. I have a few friends, not a lot, but I have a few solid friends I hang out with. We like to go out to diners and go to get coffee together. But yeah, no, that's a little bit about my hobbies, my work, what I do, who I am, and I hope you all, if you have any questions, ask. I'm more than happy to answer, as long as they are respectful questions, not judging or being mean or condescending. Just don't be condescending or stupid. And I'm more than happy to answer if they're coming from a good place. And yeah, no, I'm very open. I'm very honest. So if anyone has any questions about any of the things I mentioned, feel free. And I hope you all have a nice day. I will be making more content going forward. So, see ya. Bye.